Welcome to Coach's Corner Cav fans. Thanks for joining me one last time, I guess, for this 2025 season. Unfortunately, we don't have one more. As most of you who follow this, I'm sure know that we lost to Hopewell Loudon 20-18 the other night at Walpock on a nice night. It was cold, but it was no wind, and the atmosphere was pretty good. Walpock's a great site for a game. And unfortunately, we lost 20-18, and the frustrating part for all of us, including all the coaches, all the players, probably all the fans, we feel like we're the better team, and just, I don't know, we made some mistakes and just didn't make those plays when we had an opportunity to do so, especially offensively. I think we outgained them 360 to 180, something like that. But they made the plays when they had to. And I'm sure as coaches, at least for me, there's a couple times where I second guess myself now. And I'm sure we've got a couple players that are feeling like if they would have just not done this or done that we could have won this game. But hats off to Hopewell Loudon. They're moving on, and they're going to play Kirtland in the state finals. So they're 14-1. They're a good team. Similar styles, I guess. Both teams are more run heavy, and so I guess we'll see what happened. So on the season, we finished the season 10-5, and 7 of our games were one-score games. And unfortunately, we lost 5 of those, but. Really proud of our team and our effort. Lots of ups and downs, I guess, especially offensively. We were inconsistent with early. It seemed like it was some penalties and lost yardage plays. One week we'd play really good offense, the next week not so great. The defense was just really solid all year and played really well. Hats off to those defensive players and really defensive coaches. Mark running the show there as the defensive coordinator, and so in some ways it was a frustrating and I guess disappointing in some ways. But on the flip side of that, from the day-to-day operations of our team, things were really smooth. This was a good fun group to work with. It was great that each time we lost. You never know if you're going to get them back on track. And each week they bounce back. These guys bounce back, and we turned it around the next week and would get a win and get on a little roll. And so we finished, like I said, at 10-5, another 10 win season. And so that we're proud of that. Obviously, we're in the state Final Four out of 107 teams that started in Division 6. And you get to those Final Four, I guess that the negative side is because we won some of those and won some state titles. You feel like, and you got to kick yourself and say, hey, it was still a good season. That you feel sometimes like, gosh darn it, we could have maybe won another one. But that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes, and everybody's trying, and everybody wants that same prize. So we feel good about. Feel good after you get over this loss with these kids, and that we're going to keep moving forward. Like I said, from the day-to-day operations, we feel good. As we look ahead a little bit, looking forward, I just counted, looked at our roster and returning guys. Last year we only had 3 or 4 starters returning. This year. This next year in 26, we had 7 juniors that were starters and significant starters, and 5 sophomores. By the end of the year, we had 5 starting sophomores. So that's 12 returning guys. Some of those are a couple of those guys are two-way players. So that's 12, 14, 15, 16 out of 20, 22, 24 spots that are returners. So we're looking where we feel like that's a good situation. Our 8th graders coming up are a really good group. hopefully we'll get almost 30 of those guys back to start the fall. So get those numbers back up to closer to 70 instead of high 50s. And so we're feeling good about that. I want to really thank our coaches that I've been working with here now for several years. We had one addition this year that he'll be here for a long time. I think. But Mark Bruns, I'm going in age order here. So obviously I'm the oldest by a long shot. But Mark Bruns is our defensive coordinator. Zach Sudoff. Zach Sudoff is an O and D line guy and helps out with the special teams. Dan Kenny is our receiver and defensive back coach. Coach Hewer, Joe Hewer, works with Zach all the time with the O and the D line. Corey Clicky is a quarterback and corners coach, along with Jack Hemmelgarn. Like I said, Jack came back to us and is teaching in the building now. So Jack Hemmelgarn worked with Corey and a lot of the young guys. A lot of the times he would take them. And then Nick Hawk. Nick Hawk has volunteered these last few years and works with the running backs and works with Mark with the linebackers. So, man, I can't ask for a better group of guys that are on top of things. And I guess I probably could not even show up half the time and things would get taken care of. And I feel really good about that, really good about the staff. And hopefully, I think they're all going to come back next year. So proud of those guys. And finally, to end this year, I gotta mention all the seniors and this group, a group of selfless role players, a lot of them, and from a day-to-day operation, really proud of the way these guys handle things and really impressed with the maturity over the years in their leadership these last 2 years. We weren't sure coming in who was going to be the leaders of this crew, but 3 or 4 of those guys really took it upon themselves and like I said, from a day-to-day operations, just every day. I love going to practice because I knew they were going to do what we asked them to do and try to do their best to improve and get better. And we did that throughout the year and it turned out to be a really good season. You know, these guys, Eddie Obringer mentioned it in our last captain's meeting that when they were 7th graders, they won no games and only scored 3 touchdowns the whole year. And so over those 4 or 5 years of I guess maturing and just improving and staying out, for those 15 guys, when you don't win, it's hard to keep going. And so they got a little bit better each year, and turned out, last year several of those guys were a major part of a state championship, and this year made certainly a good run. So proud of those guys. So I'm going to go numerical order and just go through the guys, and we'll have our banquet next a week from yesterday, I guess, this coming Sunday, and we'll definitely individually talk a lot more about these guys. But in numerical order, Caleb Schreier was number 2 receiver and defensive back. Nolan Mesher was a corner and receiver. Trent Wesker, number 6, Caden Obringer was our safety and wide receiver. Trent Westcurtis was mainly a linebacker and fullback. Gavin Layfeld, number 13, was a receiver and defensive back, along with Jake Kesson. Number 14 was also a receiver and defensive back. Carson Deuce, number 17, was a special teams guy and a tight end and a defensive end. Number 20, Max Ross, was our starting corner and played some receiver. Bryce Couchot was our kicker punter and had a great year. I think he's the all-time leading kick scorer for the Cavs. I guess we'll get into that more at the banquet. Number 54, Sam Rissmiller, came off a knee injury and started playing about the 5th game and really got a lot better as the year went on. Had a great season. Number 55, Owen Layfeld, was a starting guard for us most of the year and played a really good defensive end game the other night in special teams. So he was a starter last year on the state championship team. 58, Eddie Obringer was just a great role player for us and just a great guy. He does everything. Eddie's our our positive, always positive guy. 62, Rudy Kramer was a 50, I guess a 31 game starter at center for us, along with Max Cook, number 65, who was again right next to Rudy in those 31 games, 2-year starters. And finally, number 71, Aiden Feely, really made a great jump this year. He was an offensive tackle for us and played some defensive end. So 15 of them that we're going to lose. And like I said, hopefully those freshmen will come in with 30, with hopefully 25 to 30 guys, and get those numbers back up. And hopefully most of the other guys, younger guys, will return next year. So really proud of this group. Again, we end the season 10-5 and another 10 win season. And looking forward to recuperating and regrouping and retooling and try it again next year. So thanks for joining me all year, and really thank Mike for all he does for me and with all this film stuff, and so go Cavs. Thanks for joining me.